Lately, uso ang mga high-profile na mga hiwalayan. They are the first, then comes second, then third. Pero all of these will surely pale in comparison when this will be pursued.
Tablado sa ilang mambabatas ang gusto ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na ihiwalay ang Mindanao sa Pilipinas.
May panibagong banat ang dating Pangulo. Gusto niyang isulong uli ang paghiwalay ng Mindanao sa Pilipinas o tinatawag na secession.
Pera ng bayan, inuubos kung anong pinaggagawa.
The question is, can Mindanao afford to separate from the Philippines? Or is it extremely necessary? Ang problema, wala pa'y opisyal nga position paper ang mga nagasulong sa Mindanao Secession, diin nakalatag ang mga punto de vista niini. So I spent considerable time dissecting the rhetoric of the call for Mindanao Secession straight from the horse's mouth. To synthesize this, I turn it to a new friend by the name of ChatGPT.
Hey ChatGPT, below is a transcript of interviews and press briefers of those organizing the call for Mindanao Secession. Make a bulleted synthesis of the main points on why they are advocating for Mindanao Secession.
To be frank about it, the rhetoric is somehow hazy, but there are at least themes that stood out. But more on that later. For now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Those pushing for Mindanao Secession admitted that creating a Federal Republic of Mindanao won't be a walk in the park. Pero ingon pud nila, dili daw kini imposible. However, our 1987 Constitution doesn't provide a clear process for the secession of any part of the Philippines.
Legally, we cannot declare an area of the Philippines separate from the Republic of the Philippines.
Talagang exceptional, kailangan pahintulutan ng bansa na may humiwalay sa kanya bago siya maging posible. Hindi siya legally possible under the Philippine Constitution.
Sa kasaysayan, dili kini ang unang higayon nga adunay lakang aron himuong independyente ang Mindanao. In the 1990 Mindanao crisis, Colonel Alexander Noble and his crew pulled off its ambitious move. They managed to take over military bases in Cagayan de Oro and Butuan without even firing a single shot. And on that random October day, they straight up declared the Federal Republic of Mindanao. It's crazy how this so-called Mindanao Federal Republic had its own passport and printed its own money. It also has its own flag. But, like any rebellion, it was nipped in the bud. Well, kung gusto talaga ng Mindanao na maging isang independent country, kailangan itong sumunod sa international law. International law doesn't explicitly forbid declarations of independence by separatist states. Pero kasagaran ani kanang aduna pay gera o kasamok bago pa man makadeklara og independence. Ibig sabihin komplikado ang usaping ito, if not madugo.
No! No!
History is replete with episodes of bloody secession. Case in point, Bangladesh. Bangladesh, if we can recall, was part of Pakistan. The folks in East Pakistan were feeling kinda left out.
Bengalis of East Pakistan have paid a heavy price in blood for trying to break away from West Pakistan and forming the independent state of Bangladesh.
So, tensions rose, leading to the Bangladesh Liberation War. Fast forward to 1971, Bangladesh declared independence, ending the war and becoming its own boss. Secession ang tawag sa aktong pagsasarili kung saan nagdedeklara ng kanilang sariling kalayaan at independensya mula sa umiiral na federal o sentral na pamahalaan ang isang teritoryo tulad ng Mindanao. Ang secession ay maaring sanhi ng mga political, historical, cultural o socio-economic na mga issue. Ito ay posible sa pamamagitan ng mapayapang diplomasya hanggang sa mga aktibong aksyon tulad ng rebelyon o pag-aaklas. Sa kaso sa Mindanao, kung basehan ang plano ni Digong, ours will be an independent country. In that event, makigbulag na ang Mindanao sa Pilipinas. But hold your fort. At least there was an assurance from Duterte himself that this will not be bloody. Sounds strange, right? Well, his Exhibit A is our Southeast Asian neighbor, Timor Leste. Let's recall a bit. Portuguese colony kaniadto ang East Timor sulod sa 400 years. Gisakop kini sa Indonesia niadtong 1975. After enduring over 2 decades of challenging Indonesian rule, Timor-Leste faced a pivotal moment in 1999. Opting for independence in a UN-sponsored referendum, the Timorese people braved chaos and turmoil. International support played a crucial role, and in 2002, Timor-Leste emerged as a proud, independent nation against all odds.
The people of East Timor have thus rejected the proposed special autonomy and expressed their wish to begin a process of transition towards independence.
But what Duterte failed to mention are the social and economic costs that come with that independence. Sa pag-atras sa Indonesia sa kontrol niini sa East Timor niadtong 1999, gidala niini ang kadaghanan sa mga government employees ug uban pang public servants nga maoy nagpadagan sa nasod. Together with local militias, the Indonesian military carried out a scorched earth policy that destroyed an estimated 80% of the buildings in East Timor.
The destruction was immense. There was hardly a building left standing.
If interfet had not occurred, it would be mayhem, massacre all over the country.
During that time, more than 40% of the workforce is unemployed, 1 in 5 people have run out of food, and a similar proportion is living in tents or shelters, afraid to go home more than a year after a military mutiny led to a wave of arson and killings. The East Timorese health, education, and judicial services barely function. Illiteracy, infant mortality, and disease run high. Gangs of unemployed young men loiter aimlessly in the hot sun and make the streets dangerous at night. Bangladesh and Timor Leste are not alone in the list of breakaway nations that declared independence from their mother countries. And Mindanao, at least in the vision of Duterte, could join this list. But why? To answer that, let's go back to the generated synthesis of ChatGPT. Guys, my approach to this will be quite straightforward. I'll give my thoughts as a Mindanaoan, but I will let you draw your own conclusion. It would be fun if you can comment your thoughts below. And while you're there, please consider subscribing to this channel. So, out of countless interviews and newspaper reports, I prompted ChatGPT to synthesize these to come up with bulleted points about the vision of Duterte towards a separate Mindanao Republic. So here are the common themes, but I'll just focus on 2 things that I think encapsulate their newfound advocacy and argue my case on why the idea of separating Mindanao from the Philippines is a totally crazy idea. First, financial resources and disappointment with past administrations.
The only reason na bakit kami talagang disappointed is ang pera ng bayan. Inuubos kung anong pinaggagawa.
According to them, there is a prevailing sentiment of dissatisfaction with both past and present administrations in the way they utilize resources and taxpayers' money. Tinuod ba ni? Atong tanawon ning table sa regional allocation sa national budget. Kung ikumpara ang budget sa Mindanao sa Luzon or NCR for example, atong maingon nga dehado gyud ang Mindanao. This is true to other allocation in different departments, like for example, infrastructure, sa education, agriculture, health, and even social welfare. Now, here's my take on this. Let's not get overwhelmed by the numbers, but to air disappointment with how the national government allocates funding for Mindanao is somehow sketchy, because lest we forget, Duterte served as our beloved president for 6 years. The data from 2019 to 2022 would show that under the Duterte administration, Mindanao is still lagging behind the major island groups in terms of budget allocation. So, was this a lost opportunity? You be the judge. I don't think creating a Mindanao Republic would solve this either. The second synthesis is the desire for independence. The main theme centers around a desire for Mindanao's independence, driven by a belief that the region's rich natural resources and capable leaders could lead to success as an independent country. Well, as far as I can remember, Duterte ran on a platform of change. Change that's represented by his advocacy on federalism. Back then, a Mindanao Republic was not even laid on the table. Not until today. Its timing is also sketchy given the recent political events that shook the nation. The Butch People's Initiative and the impending ICC investigation on his administration's alleged human rights violations are among those events. That should lead us to think, is this really for Mindanao? Well, I'm also apprehensive about the powers that be that would lead the Mindanao Republic to success if some of them were instrumental in the rape of our environment. Case in point, ang nakakalbong kabundukan ng Surigao. I'm for federalism, but I think it's so un-Filipino and so selfish for us Mindanaoans to break ties with our only country, the Philippines. There's so much we can do under federalism, but declaring independence from the Philippines is another story. So here's my take on this. This highlights our being so regionalistic. We don't see ourselves as one nation. Mindanao is an integral part of the Philippines. The Philippines is not as it is without Mindanao. As a Mindanaoan, however, ramdam din namin ang inequity when it comes to how we are funded in the national budget. This feeling of Mindanaoans is valid. So, this might serve as a wake-up call to Imperial Manila na huwag kalimutan ang ating Mindanao. So, instead of secession, why not channel our energies towards Mindanao integration? Supporting the call for Mindanao secession is treading on a dangerous ground. To my fellow Mindanaoans, I also think it's high time for us to reflect on our leaders, the kind of leaders that we elect. Dili ba ka if we're only fed with anger all these years to hate Imperial Manila? There could be reasons. Isa na diha ang pag-divert of our discontent from our own LGUs here ug pahimungtan ang national government. My theory is that they are spinning this whole imperialist Manila story to make us angry at the big shots in the capital, so we won't notice our very own leaders robbing us blind. It's a distraction trick. Which leads me to my point. The government we elect is the government we deserve. At the end of the day, the joke is on you and me. The joke is on us. The narratives of Mindanaoans are intertwined with the larger Filipino narrative, illustrating the strength that emerges when different threads are woven into the fabric of a single, cohesive identity. As someone born and raised in Mindanao, I don't support the call for Mindanao to separate from the Philippines. Dahil walang Mindanao kung walang Pilipinas as a whole. At walang Pilipinas kung walang Mindanao. Higit sa pagiging Mindanaon, tayo ay mga Pilipino. Mabigat na rason na yon upang mahalin natin ang Pilipinas, warts and all. That's all. See you in the next video.